Welcome to my YouTube channel, Becoming a Writer. On this channel, I'll chronicle my journey to become a writer, and I'll also be interviewing other great writers and providing you also some inspiring resources that can help you on your journey to become a writer yourself. On today's interview, we have Grant Askew, who has written a book called The Almighty's Lover, which is about having an intimate relationship with God, which is what I believe we all should aspire to. Grant has been a disciple for, I think, a couple decades now, so he definitely has a lot of experience to share with us. We also have on the interview Lynette and also Cherie, who are going to share about how the book has impacted them. Also have a special co-host with me today. That is my sister Helen. She is also an author. And let's go ahead and get started. The first question I have is for Grant. Grant, why don't you go ahead and tell us what inspired you to go ahead and write this book?
My spiritual journey has started as a baby Christian. I think while I invested my heart, my energy, and really good amount of time and energy into the spiritual disciplines and drawing close to God through prayer and Bible study, my focus wasn't necessarily to love God. My focus wasn't necessarily to make Him feel love and to draw close to Him and be connected to Him. I was more invested for ulterior motives. I wanted to be a powerful disciple. I wanted. I knew praying was a good thing to do and reading was a good thing to do, and I gave my whole heart to it. But as far as intimacy with God went and loving Him and drawing close to Him, that really, I really had the maturity to appreciate that. And so, maybe 2 or 3 years after I got baptized, I decided, hey, you know what? Just kind of on a whim one day, I decided, hey, I'm going to talk to God like He's my friend, which is what I've heard in the past, but never really bought into, never really saw the value in a friendship with God. And so I just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to pray to God like He's my friend, and the intimacy just deepened and grew. It became something that I really loved. I fell in love with Jesus, basically, and by drawing near to Him, and it became a passion of my heart. It became, and I began to look forward to my time with God. It was something that I had a really genuine joy about, knowing Jesus and enjoying His love. And walking with Him and learning from Him and making Him feel loved and making Him feel valued and treasured, and so it became something that I wanted to share with others. I felt like the purpose of my life is to share this with other people, to help other people fall in love with God and know that joy, the joy of following Jesus and knowing Him, and so that's why I wrote the book. I said, hey, this is something that's special to me. I have something powerful that I want to share with the world, and so I rolled up my sleeves and got it done.
So thanks for sharing your kind of the inspiration that you had behind it. So as you rolled up your sleeves, what was your process that you went through in really, putting your thought to paper?
I've always had the desire to write a book. Even when I was in high school, as a young man in high school, hey, writing a book, you can just really, your heart can speak to people even after you're dead. After I'm going to heaven, the book that I have will continue to bless people and continue to inspire them and continue to draw them close to God. And my heart will speak to people even after I'm not on this earth anymore. And I find that to be incredibly powerful. And so I just say, hey, this is something I'm passionate about. This is something I want to do. So let me write it down. And I just started, for years. It took me maybe 11 or 12 years to write, maybe more. I haven't, maybe from 2006 to, I completed it last year. But I would just write. I would write and not stop. Now, there'll be times where I hit huge writer's blocks, times where I didn't feel particularly motivated, but it's just something that I wanted and I didn't give up on. And so some years I'll write maybe one paragraph the whole year, and then other years I'll make real significant progress. And so the key is don't give up on your dream. Keep on writing. Don't worry about how long it takes. Just keep on writing. Keep on doing it. keep on, don't lose your dream. And so I got to the point where I had basically a manuscript done, or I was getting close to having it done. And I started to think about, well, hey, how do I want to publish this? How do I want to get this out to people? So I did call IPI. There was a gentleman there who I thank him so much for his free advice. Free 99 is the way to go for everything. If you can get some good advice for free, or if you can get some help for free, hey, take it. But hey, we all know about free 99, right? Free 99. But and so I talked with him on the phone. He gave me some great advice for free. He said, hey, look, IPI, while it's a ministry first, it is a business. And so who knows about Grant Askew? Grant Askew, okay, nobody knows about him. People in the kingdom, we know about Judge Jacoby. We know about John Oates, and these are the primary names, the big names in the kingdom that sell books. And I'm not a big name in the kingdom. Maybe one day I will be, but I'm not right now. So the guy counseled me, hey, you know what? Because we're a business, we need to sell books. And so he just encouraged me to self-publish, and that's what I did. Now, there's some benefits about self-publishing. Self-publishing, you have total creative control over the content of the book, which is something that I really was important to me, because I had a message that I don't think would be popular. The book is powerful in some points, even provocative at some points, but it's something that I think I wanted to share unhindered. I wanted to share unconstrained by the confines of what people felt was, well, hey, bro, if you talk about that, brothers wouldn't like that, or if you talk about this, it won't it won't sell as much. But I had a passion about what I wanted to communicate, and so I felt, although I was disappointed that I wouldn't find a publisher, I just wrote it. And the different online publishing, if you want total creative control over your own work, it's the way to go. But there's one downside to that, which is that marketing it is all on you. So while I do think I produce something that I'm proud of, marketing it, getting it out to people, letting people know about it is the weak point. People in church knew about it, kind of, sort of, maybe. When I had my 37th birthday party, I sold the first copies of my book to everybody there, and people have responded to it well, but marketing it and actually letting people know about it, that's been the weak point. But hey, we can't make it now how break some eggs, right? Hey.
There you go. So what advice would you have to aspiring authors? I know you mentioned a few things already, but is there anything additional that you'd like to maybe add to that, as far as some advice you'd have for people that are hoping to write their first book?
Well, just find what you're passionate about. I tell I'm a teacher, so if I give my kids, hey, the kids who hate math problems, hey, go home, you're gonna have to do 30 math problems. Hey, I don't even like math. Why am I writing doing math problems? But if you tell a kid, hey, I'm in the comic books, and I want to, be an animator. Well, if you tell, well, okay, son, well, what do you want to do to get that? Well, let's see. I'll draw a picture of the Captain America until I get it perfect. He already has a buy-in to what he's passionate about, and because he's passionate about it, and because it's something that he wants, he won't give up when faced with writer's block or challenges. So find out what you're passionate about and don't give up on it. Don't give up on your dream. Don't give up on your dream. Keep on writing. Don't worry about how long it takes. Don't even worry about how many people read your book. Just finish. Put your heart and soul into it. Write and pour your heart into it. Like you don't want to finish your book and feel, man, you know what? I really didn't say everything I wanted to say. You want to put everything into it, and don't give up. Write until it's finished. If that takes 1 month or 1 decade, keep on going.
That's an amazing story of really just persevering and not giving up on your dream. I think that's awesome. And with all of that, you produce something that you're really proud of. And Lynette and Sherry are joining us, and they had the privilege of reading your book. So Lynette and then Sherry, if you could each share just how Grant's book has really impacted you.
Yeah, so I know he mentioned that, some people may not necessarily approve of everything, or, I've heard actually people thinking that it was weird to see God as, or think about God as being your lover. And I know I thought that at first too, like it's easy to think of God as a father, because like we do hear scriptures, where even Jesus called him father. And especially if you have a good relationship with your father, it might be easy to see that. But as I read it and thought and reflected more on it, I realized that we do need to put God first in that position. And I thought about Revelations 2, where he's talking to the church in Ephesus, and it says that one thing he held against them is that they had forgotten their first love. So God is supposed to be our first love. And I feel that if we do that, then it actually helps the rest of our relationships. So when we focus on God and put God first, when we delight in him, it helps us to build stronger relationships with other people, because we're able to add to those relationships. We're secure in our relationship with God. We're getting our emotional needs met from God in a way that other people really can't do anyway. And I appreciated how Grant was vulnerable, and he told like how he struggled through the process. Like he didn't just start out with this amazing relationship, like he struggled through it. And he talked about how, he got to a point where he was getting frustrated in his relationship and wanted it to be deeper. So he just tried. So there's no like magic formula that helps us to do it. We're all different, and we all have different, like he said, passions. So we have to figure that out ourselves, and it's really just about our heart and having a desire. So Grant said that he just tried one day. He just tried a different prayer. He tried to pray in a different way, and just changed his heart and his mind to see God in that way. So I feel like if we're open, then it can change how we feel. And I also appreciate how, like, at the end of each chapter, he asks questions for you to think about and reflect, so that you can develop your own personal. You're not just following like Grant's formula. Like he shows you how to develop that for yourself. So that's how it was helpful.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing. And Sherry, what did you think of Grant's book, and how did it impact you?
I think when I first got a hold of his book, it was at a time where I was just trying to figure out, I was toggling with my relationship with God and just trying to figure out how I can go higher. And, you go to church every Sunday, you go to church every Wednesday, you read your Bible, but being a Christian for so long, a disciple for 20 years, you kind of lose your passion a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So this book came at kind of the right time. And it really, much like Lynette said, it kind of put you in a place where you really want to see God like this lover. You kind of wanted to see God as this father and this untouchable entity. And so for me, it brought me closer to him, just going through the book. And especially, okay, so the first part of the book is where he talks about this everything feeling, and that, he first identifies with what we want as human beings, and how God can quench this thirst for us. And so you try to figure out, okay, how can he quench this thirst? Like, I'm reading, I'm praying, like, what is it? And it was time. Time is the most valuable thing. And I always think that about time. Time is how you build any relationship. And so it was just a matter of me investing the time, which he also talks about in the book. And so you know, after I invested a little bit of time and I started reading through it and seeing a different way to depict God and to look at God, is when I started gaining peace. I started seeing him as this spouse that would never become faithless, this this entity in my life that would never, I would probably do a lot of things wrong to him, but he would never do anything wrong to me. And I started seeing God in this really unmoving way, this solid rock for me. And I guess I never seen it like that. And then I kind of saw maybe his love for me, even though maybe I didn't love him like he wanted to be loved. I was always unfaithful, always doing crazy stuff that he didn't approve of, but he always was faithful to me. And so it reminds you of even in Hosea with Gomer, you know, and how God, you know, beckoned Hosea to go after Gomer. And or was it the other way around? No, that's right. Is that right? That's right.
But yes.
So even after she was unfaithful, and he said, "This is how I am. Even I don't care how bad you treat me, or what you say about me, or how you know how you feel about me. I'm always here, and I'm always gonna love you." And so that is what drew me closer. And so this book was just a pile of those parallels. And so I think that's for me is what I enjoy mostly. I mean, but the time was the big thing for me. It was time, because time is valuable, and you can't ever get it back. So once a minute passed, you can't get it back. So it was just investing the time. So yeah,
That's awesome.
that's my long-winded answer.
No, great stuff, great stuff. So Grant, how do you feel as you hear what's being shared about your book? I know you said you're going to try to get some more marketing done to get it into more avenues and get into, you know, more people's hands. But just real quick, how do you feel about what you're hearing?
There's an idea that, you know, when someone's needs and desires become more important than your own, that's how you know that you love someone. And I had a great desire to bless people with a book and to share my relationship with God with them. And I feel incredibly loved that, you know, they got something from it. The biggest thing you can do, the best thing you can do for somebody is to help them to connect with God, you know, to deepen their intimacy with Christ. You know, it's what baptism is about. It's what sharing your faith is about. It's about what the cross is about: connecting with God and enjoying His love and experiencing a uninterrupted fellowship with Him. And the deeper you can go into your relationship with God, and the deeper you can draw to Him and walk more intimately with Him, the more you accomplish the goal that Jesus accomplished for us on the cross. It's not just about, well, hey, I got to get out of hell ticket. You know, it's about love and intimacy and romance and the fire of our love, you know, and that God that burns in His heart. And I think God's greatest desire for us is to connect with Him and love Him and cherish Him and to walk with Him, you know, as deep as we possibly can in our minds, whatever intimacy with God. When you think about connection and intimacy and romance and love and whatever that means to you in the greatest form, you want to project that out into your relationship with God and draw to Him that way. And it's what Jesus had blood for. You know, it's what He suffered, you know, the cross for 6 hours, you know, all for that, you know. And so if I can find it and give it to people, I feel like I've done my job. So that's the long and short of it.
Amen. So lastly, where can people find your book? I think it's on Amazon. Do you have it anywhere else, or is that pretty much where it is? And the last question with that, I guess, part B, I suppose, is do you have another project or another book or something else you're working on? So if you can maybe just answer those two questions and we'll wrap it up.
My book is available on Amazon. Everything's on Amazon. The Infinity Stones are on Amazon. But it's located on Amazon. You can get it. It's only $6. And real quick, one thing about I'll put a pitch in for KDP. You can publish online virtually for free, and have your book, self-published for free if you use Kindle Direct Publishing. It's a very cost-effective way to go about publishing your books. I recommend it. I'm writing a book. The current title is A Heart of Flesh, and it's about how we can keep our hearts soft and close to God as we walk as Christians. Instead of having our hearts ruled by us controlling our own hearts rather than our hearts controlling us, and how we can protect our hearts, how we can guard our hearts and keep our hearts close to God and deepen that love and actually control our hearts and direct our hearts toward God as we walk as Christians. I'm also writing a book about evangelism. There's another book that, it's on the mature side. It's very mature. I don't even know if I'll share it with, it's a personal project of mine that I may release, toward the end of my life. But the current title it's about marital intimacy with Christ, and I'll release that. All these projects are in the works, but those are just some secrets to what I got cooking up in the kitchen. So.
Oh, good deal. Well, you proved you're a finisher of projects with the first one, so definitely keep plugging away with the next ones that you have. So we're going to wrap it up there, but if you've enjoyed this episode, definitely please subscribe and click like, and we'll have more episodes coming to really help you in your journey as a writer. Thanks, everyone, for your time.
Thank you.